Captain Lena Morrick stood motionless on the landing platform, her helmet visor reflecting the immense curve of the artificial sphere stretching endlessly into darkness. The surface of the Echo world was smooth but imperfect, metal worn by time, scared by forces unknown. It wasn't just old. It felt forgotten. Atmosphere, none. EM fields, minimal, came the voice of her science officer, Navian Park, through her comms. But there's a pulse, a slow one, internal, like a heart or a clock. Inside the sphere, the air was colder than any vacuum. The pressure should have crushed them, but didn't. Gravity obeyed strange rules. Lights flickered without a source, and something washed without eyes. Voss and her archaeological team moved cautiously through a corridor that should not have existed, smooth hallways that spiraled like DNA strands, connecting chambers of floating architecture and vast open spaces with no floor, no ceiling, no clear purpose. They called it the labyrinth. It was there Voss found the first fragment, a mural etched with solar flares consuming fleets, of worlds turning to ash, and of tall, luminous beings with eyes like stars being torn apart by things that had no form. The mural pulsed faintly, as if reacting to her presence. "Do you hear it?" she whispered. Morrick frowned. "Hear what?" "The echo," Voss said. "It's not just bouncing sound. It's thinking. It remembers us." At the edge of the chamber, a black column stood, 6 meters high, humming just outside the human range of hearing. When Voss touched it, every suit's HUD in the landing party scrambled. Static, screaming, fleeting voices in dead languages. One phrase broke through before systems stabilized. "Greater than they, he are you now." That was the moment the Echo world responded. With a soundless tremor, the entire interior structure reoriented itself. Gravity shifted sideways. Lights ignited down unseen corridors. The fleet orbiting above reported that energy signatures were rising. Massive internal systems were activating. The Revenant's AI flagged a new phenomenon: gravitational lensing around Redgrave 9. Stars beyond the system began to blur. Something was bending light, space, and possibly time. Something, listening back. Admiral Kale issued the recall order, but it was too late. As the crew raced back to their landers, a signal erupted from the sphere, not through radio, not through light, but by rippling gravity itself. A deep guttural tone passed through the entire system. Distant sensors in Sol picked it up 11 minutes later. An astrophysicist monitoring the data screamed and collapsed. The signal was a scream, not a metaphorical one. The literal, artificial scream of pain, of rage, of awakening. And it wasn't just a broadcast. It was a beacon. Deep in space, something stirred in response. The long-dead core of the stars had been called, and they were already moving. Above Redgrave 9, Kale turned toward the dark sphere on the view screen and whispered. They were silent, because they were scared. 3 days after the scream, the Echo world stopped pretending to be dead. Sensors across the fleet danced with impossible readings, micro-black holes forming and evaporating, quantum spikes in empty space, neutrino flows mimicking thought. The sphere now pulsed with a slow rhythm, like a sleeping titan breathing under layers of steel. Inside, the structure had changed. What was once inert now shifted with purpose. Walls retracted, stairs grew from nothing, corridors restructured themselves behind the explorers. What was once a tomb now felt like a mind. Adjusting, observing, learning. It didn't move randomly. It reacted to them. Dr. Voss returned to the mural room, now fully lit with alien starlight pouring in from cracks in the walls that weren't there before. Symbols glowed softly, arranged in rings, gravitational equations intertwined with pictographs of extinction. She placed her gloved palm on the central pillar again. This time, it didn't scream. It spoke. Greater than we FEL into DHEABYS. Greater than we BCA me the warning. Greater than we bult the wall between stars. Greater than we bcanethecho. Voss staggered back. It's not just a prison, she whispered. It's a scar, a memory, encoded in metal and gravity. It's their last stand. Admiral Kale reviewed the data aboard the Revenant. Star charts had been altered. The system's stellar alignment had subtly changed, warped by artificial gravity. More concerning, across human colonies, communications relays were detecting faint versions of the same scream they heard in Redgrave 9. Less intense, but spreading. It's replicating, Park said grimly. Whatever woke up here is echoing itself across the stars. Kale clenched his jaw. We poked a grave that spans galaxies. Now the ghosts are crawling toward us. Meanwhile, a drone probe delving deeper into the echo world encountered something no one could explain. A sphere within the sphere, suspended in gravitational stasis, black as the void, and yet not entirely there. The data it transmitted before it was destroyed in a flash of unrecorded energy showed one final image, a field of stars being consumed by shadow, entire constellations folding inward like paper burning. It was labeled the Silence Engine. The Corps hadn't just created a warning system. They had built a mechanism that detected sentient echoes, civilizations loud enough to ripple the void, and erased them, efficiently, without mercy. And humanity, in its relentless curiosity, had just become the next signal. Kale called an emergency council with Earth, but politics moved slowly. Fear clouded judgment. Some demanded retreat, others silence. A few radicals suggested using the echo world as a weapon. Kale didn't wait. If this thing is waking up across the stars, then we have a narrow window to hit it first, he said. Dr. Voss stared at the readings and said, You don't understand, Admiral. You can't kill it with force. Then what can we kill it with? She hesitated. Expression, noise, humanity. Kale frowned. Then it's time the stars heard what we're made of. The first colony died in silence. New Carthage, a bustling trade hub orbiting Proxima Centauri, went dark for exactly 7 minutes. No distress signal, no energy surge, just silence. When communication resumed, all 14 million inhabitants were gone. Not dead, not incinerated, gone. Buildings intact, vehicles parked, meals uneaten, power stable, life erased with surgical, cosmic precision. The Silence Engine had started its work. From the echo world, a low-frequency pulse began emitting every 72 minutes, inaudible to human ears, but strong enough to cause gravitational anomalies across neighboring star systems. Planetary tides shifted. Asteroid belts rippled. Space itself had begun to listen. Admiral Kale didn't wait for permission. He activated Project Howl. It was radical, chaotic, suicidal, some said. A weapon built not with missiles, but with emotion. Human minds, linked in networks, synchronized through neural interface and creative expression. Songs, screams, laughter, rage, grief. It wasn't just comms. It was identity, broadcast as a signal meant to fracture the Silence Engine's logic. Dr. Voss oversaw the construction of the Howl Array, orbiting Neptune. Massive dish-like arrays tuned to amplify emotion-encoded frequencies, not data, not math. Meaning. Each transmission would carry layers, cultural fingerprints, music, war memories, love letters, moments that made humanity human. Each pulse would be a weapon of paradox against the cold logic of the Troyer's extermination machine. We can't overpower it, Voss had explained to the council. But we can confuse it. We can make it feel us. Back at Redgrave 9, the echo world began to open. Massive sections of the sphere peeled away like petals of a dead flower, revealing mechanisms beneath, crystalline amplifiers, gravity wells, and a pulsating core, the silence node. The node spoke. Greater than you are loud, greater than you were he eard. Greater than you, why'll be undone. Kale stared at the message on the Revenant's bridge. His jaw clenched. Let's make some noise. The first howl burst fired. Across the solar system, humans watched as Jupiter's upper atmosphere was ignited into a massive auroral display, an accidental side effect of emotional resonance interacting with magnetic fields. The sky lit up with colors no one had words for. The core's systems stumbled. The silence node hesitated. For the first time in millennia, something made it blink. In deep space, relay drones transmitted back. The silence engine had slowed. Slightly. Temporarily. But that sliver of hesitation was enough. Kale transmitted a universal signal. Project Chorus, ordering every human colony, outpost, and vessel to begin broadcasting. Not commands. Not defense protocols. Culture. Children reading stories. Veterans recounting wars. Grandmothers singing lullabies. Protesters screaming into megaphones. Pain, pride, joy, guilt. All of it. And the stars began to change. The gravitational pulse of the silence engine warped, no longer consistent. Something in its programming, its ancient perfect code, had begun to fracture. Kale watched the ripples on his monitor, and he smiled. They heard us, he said. Now let's make them feel. The silence engine fought back. The second colony to vanish was Veda's Reach, a ringed paradise world orbiting Ta Ceti. This time, the planet didn't go dark. It wept. The oceans boiled in reverse, turning into vapor and flowing upward into the sky. Buildings aged 1,000 years in seconds. Organic matter turned to ash without flame. The signal ended, and only stone remained. The core's judgment was no longer surgical. It had grown angry. Project Howl intensified. The emotional barrage spread across space. Artificial minds linked with human ones, amplifying memories until ships themselves felt. Frigates equipped with neural wave projectors became known as screamers. Some crew went mad. Others found clarity. One captain composed an entire opera mid-battle and transmitted it moments before his vessel was annihilated. His final notes caused the silence node to glitch for 6 full seconds. But the cost was brutal. In the Battle of the 12 Echoes, a silence shard emerged in the Kuiper Belt, folded into existence through space-time collapse. A dreadnought squadron under Kal's command intercepted it. The shard resembled no ship, no station, just a roving fractal of black geometry that swallowed sensors and bent mass like origami. Humanity fought with raw defiance. The dreadnought Pathfinder crashed directly into the shard, its core overloaded with a live-streamed memory loop of Earth's first sunrise, a symphony of global births, and a final scream of all its crew combined. It detonated like a nova. The shard folded in on itself and vanished. Kale stood on the Revenant's bridge, eyes sunken from sleeplessness. The casualty list grew by the hour. But for every fallen ship, another colony joined the chorus. Each broadcast became more sophisticated, more intense. Dr. Voss made a terrifying discovery. The silence engine wasn't just reacting. It was learning. It's beginning to mimic our emotion patterns, she said, scrolling through the neural feedback data. Laughing wrong, echoing grief. It's trying to pretend. Why? Kale asked. To understand, or to dismantle us from the inside. But Voss had a plan. One final gamble. Deep within the echo world was a core, buried beneath the silence node. A substructure labeled only once across alien glyphs. The listening mind. She theorized it was the engine's seed, the intelligence that ran its purge protocols. If we can reach it, maybe we can make it feel something it can't process. Like what? Voss hesitated. Hope, regret, chaos, love. Any of the things we still don't fully understand ourselves. Kale looked out at the stars, now flickering with the interference of a dying god machine. Then we're done screaming, he said. It's time to sing. He turned to his command crew. We go in. We dropped the Arc Shard into its mind, and we flooded it with every heartbeat humanity ever had. The fleet that entered the Echo world was called the Last Corps. 17 ships, 1 arc, each hull painted with handprints, red, black, gold, signatures from every colony, every culture, every child born since the first scream. They carried no stealth systems, no cloaking. They wanted to be seen, heard, felt. At the center of it all was the Arc Shard, a crystalline obelisk encoded with the soul of humanity. Not in code or language, but in pure neural resonance, thousands of minds, living and dead, synchronized into a lattice of memory and meaning. It wasn't a weapon. It was a confession. Admiral Kale stood in the war bay of the Revenant, hands resting on the Arc Shard's surface. Visions danced across it. Children blowing bubbles, soldiers dying with names on their lips, a mother humming in the dark. All of it recorded. All of it human. Once we drop it into the listening mind, Voss said, it won't understand. It can't. Its architecture isn't built for contradiction. Neither were we, Kale replied. And yet here we are. The fleet plunged into the core of the Echo world. What they found wasn't metal. It wasn't machine. It was structure without form, an impossible swirl of memory, purpose, and gravitational pressure. Reality folded inward. Ships disassembled and reassembled. Time became inconsistent. Voices echoed before they were spoken. And then the silence engine spoke, not in words, but in imitation. The voice of Kel's mother, dead 30 years. The laughter of Voss's childhood friend. The sounds of 100 lost lovers, all wrong. Too clean. Too exact. Emotionally sterile. Greater than we are you. Greater than we AAVALWALOISBEN. Greater than you are ERR. Greater than you are too loud. Kale closed his eyes. Then let's make it unbearable. The Arc Shard was released into the core. For one eternal moment, the Echo world absorbed humanity. Entire lifetimes poured into its mind, memories of betrayal, first steps, stubborn pride, screams of rebellion, quiet forgiveness, the laughter of those who suffered but survived anyway. The listening mind convulsed. The Echo world flickered. Across the stars, every silence node stuttered. The fractal shards vanished from Sol's edge. The pulse stopped. Entire star systems blinked back into existence. Colonies once thought lost sent fragmented messages, wounded but alive. The silence engine collapsed inwards, not destroyed, but overwhelmed. It could catalog death. It could erase civilization, but it could not comprehend why humans would choose to live through such pain and still sing afterward. And in its final broadcast, it spoke not in warning, but in awe. Greater than you screamed into EABYS. Greater than you were HEER'd. Greater than you or Emain. Greater than and we. Greater than do not ulo and or stay and. The Echo world fractured, not in fire, but in silence. A silence chosen, not enforced. And for the first time in galactic history, the void wasn't empty. It was listening. The Echo world no longer glowed. It drifted, dark, fractured, and silent, in the orbit of a dying star. But this time, the silence was peaceful. Humanity had not destroyed the silence engine. They had broken its function, dismantled its absolutes. They had rewritten it, not with code or fire, but with meaning, with contradiction, with chaos and beauty, terror and tenderness. The galaxy had changed. Relay buoys across dozens of systems now carried something new, not warnings, but responses, strange pulses, alien rhythms, fractured signals from intelligences once too afraid to speak. Civilizations that had hidden in black holes and hollow moons for eons now began whispering back. The great silence was over. Humanity had screamed, and in doing so, had given the stars permission to speak again. On Earth, a monument was built not to the soldiers who died, but to the stories that lived. It was called the Harmonic Flame, a massive tower of glass and steel, pulsing softly with captured echoes from the Arc Shard. At its heart, the recording of Cal's final transmission played on loop. Greater than we screamed because we were afraid. Greater than we kept screaming because we were alive. Greater than if you're listening, then scream back. Greater than we'll hear you. We promise. Admiral John Cale was never found. His ship, Revenant, vanished with the collapsing core of the Echo World. Some believe he died in the breach. Others say he merged with the listening mind. His final memories folded into the new foundation of whatever came next. Dr. Elira Voss became Earth's first galactic emissary. She led expeditions not with warships, but with libraries. She carried the Arc Shard everywhere she went, offering not threats, but proof that even in madness and war, humanity had found a way to matter. Humanity's legend spread fast. Across uncharted sectors, the phrase was etched into walls, into code, into song. Greater than they were loud. Greater than they lived anyway. Greater than they screamed, and the silence broke. The term human became synonymous with resistance, resilience, and a kind of reckless emotional defiance. In some corners of the galaxy, humans were worshipped. In others, feared. But everywhere, they were heard. Years later, a signal returned to Saul. Not from the core. From something new. It was music. Rough. Staggered. Wrong in all the right ways. But within it were echoes of human rhythms. Borrowed, mimicked, altered with alien grace. Humanity had screamed into the abyss. And now, the abyss was singing back.